Hi everyone, another day, another share, and I am on the same theme as the last video, taking traditional blocks and turning them into paper piecing blocks. I want to show you the finished block from last video. It is called the double monkey wrench. And I turned this into a paper piecing pattern. This is a 6 by 6 inch block finished, and the fabric collection that I used was from Lori Holt cookbook. So it's called Cookbook by Lori Holt. You'll find these fabrics on my website. I will put links down for everything below. So I'm really pleased. It turned out really great. You end up having perfect 1/4 inches up here, so you won't lose your points. You can line up down here on the corner on these points down here. These points right here, you can line up. It's really easy. When you put this particular one together, you have this piece up here, and then you have a center piece and a lower piece, and then you take the paper off and you sew the pieces together in a traditional manner. But all the little pieces are put together by paper piecing. So I'm going to go ahead on the same theme, and we are going to show you another traditional block called Pig's Tail. Now this looks like a snail tail. The only difference is the snail tail has a 4 patch in the center. A pig's tail, oh no, sorry, it's it's not tail, it's Snail Trail, has the 4 patch. It looks like a snail's trail, but it isn't. It's a pig's tail. And it doesn't have a 4 patch in the middle. That is the difference between a pig's tail and a snail trail. Okay, so we're going to put this one together. And I have my pieces all cut and everything. And the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to just make sure my iron is hot. And yes, it is. And we're going to put this piece on first, and then we're going to put this piece, and then this piece, and then this one and this one. Okay? You want to do opposites because it just makes a better seam right here on these corners if you do opposites. So that's my opinion. So I have my little square. I'm going to center it onto the little square in the center. What's nice about this one, you notice it's all in one piece, whereas the monkey wrench, you had 3 separate pieces and then you had to sew things together. But this is all in one piece. It's hopefully is going to be fun. So I'm going to iron this. I have it centered on the paper over the middle square. I'm just going to iron this down and get it ironed. It's a little hard to iron in the center, because the centerpiece, because you don't want to get this stuck to your iron. So you got to be careful. So I have folded on the solid lines, all the solid lines, because those are going to be my sewing lines, but I don't sew through my paper. If those of you have seen my method, you will notice that I don't sew through the paper. So the next one is A2. I take my 1/4 inch and I cut. Okay, so the next one is going to be this one here. And I'm gonna line it up. So this one, you have 3 fabrics and the pieces are all the same shape, and they're, I got to change my foot out. Sorry, not very organized. All right. One thing I like about this machine is that I can change my feet out with one hand and easily. All right, so I have a special foot with a guide on it, so I can butt the guide up against the paper and I can sew beside the paper, not on the paper. And that makes a huge difference in the big picture of things for me. I like this method. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to cut this. I don't have my little scissors with me. All right, so we're going to iron this back. Just enough. All right. When you put these on, see how it's over? I do have a 1/4 inch over here. I'm not worried about it, but make sure I'm going to have to be careful with myself and make sure that I don't have all this excess because I want to be even on both sides. So the next one is the one opposite of what I just did, and that is A3. I'm going to trim this down and get rid of that. And that's this color here. Now, these have been sewn direct. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm covering my piece. There we go. That looks much better. Hopefully it will be enough. There we go. I'm just going to fix this up when I get to the machine. I think I'm just going to, there we go. And now I'm going to butt that. Where's my thread? Oh, there it is. I like to hold my thread when I start because I don't want it tangling up. Alrighty. I'm finding this a little more awkward because it's quite a big piece of paper that you have in your hands, but that's okay. I'll get the swing of it. Okay, so that's enough. And actually, I think that should have been a bigger triangle when you cut because... Alright, so now I'm going to go to the next one, which is, I've done 1, 2, I'm doing this one here. And that's a white. Fold it back on the fold line that I made earlier. And what do I have on this thread? And that's one of these. I've cut these ones much bigger, but I'm going to make sure that I'm covering carefully so I have plenty on both sides. I think that one does it. Yeah, that's good. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is the first time, the very first time, that I'm actually doing this block in this method. I just had this idea, said, oh, I will try it, but I just went onto my website, onto my design program, and designed up. Okay, so that's what we are right now. So the next one we're doing is number 5, A5. So I'm going to pull this back away from the fabric, And I'm going to do that. And that is another white or background. So I'm just going to take one of these and I'm just going to center it. And look, that looks centered. And we'll do the next one. And there we go. I'm getting less awkward with this extra paper, because this paper is bigger than my hand, so it can be a little awkward. I'm finger pressing and then I'm ironing it with a very hot little iron. I like to use this iron. This is the Oliso Mini Project Iron. It's really cute and it has good steam on it. Okay, so the next one is I'm going to, okay, so I just did, which one did I just do? I just did 5. So I'm going to 6, which is another white. I'm going to pull this back on the line. I'm going to trim it with my quarter. There we go. And I'm going to grab the next white. There we go. And now I have to somehow get it centered. And that looks centered. That looks good. All right, so now I'm just going to line this up in the machine and sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And iron that. And before I iron, I'm just gonna get rid of that. All right. Oh yeah, that's lined up nicely. There we go. And that's looking really good. All right, so we've just done A6. We're going to go over and do A7. It is another background fabric. The fabric line that I'm using is, these ones are from Cotton Beach by Tilda. And this background fabric that I have, this, was dyed last summer by me. So I thought it was the right color, so I thought, oh, it would be fun. Now I got to line this up. So what I'm trying to do is line it up so it's lined up. So this point here is lined up to these points as best I can. Like I said, I've cut these pieces bigger, substantially bigger than I need, just to make this, so if you're a little off with your lining up, chances are you're not going to have to remove it and redo it. You'll have enough on the other side to get a 1/4 inch. If you don't, because we don't sew through the paper, it's not that hard to unstitch because we're not shrinking our stitches down to do this method. Okay, so that's lined up good enough. It's not perfect, but that's okay. All right, so now we just did 7. We're going to do 8, which is this fabric here. And how I know that is because it's in the same color as the square, and I used this fabric for the center of, so that's how you know. You can gauge it that way. So I'm just going to take this piece here and put it on, and that looks pretty centered. I'm just going to flip and look. Yeah, that looks good. So this is coming along nicely. And I'm hoping that I can show you this before this gets too long. All right. There we go. And now I'm going to do this side. We've just done 8. We're doing 9, and it is this fabric here. And I'm just... Yeah, it's really a good idea to do your folds on the lines of the paper before you start sewing, because it can get kind of difficult. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of eyeball that and check. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and sew that. So what's nice about this particular one, it's all in one piece, right? So it's all on one you don't have to sew strips or rows together to finish the block. It's put together like a log cabin or like a courtyard step, that kind of similar sewing. All right. So what's the next one? So that's what it looks like so far. Doesn't look like much right now, but hopefully by the time we finish, it will look like something. So now we've done these. We've done the square and all the ones inside. Now we're doing these ones. So we're more than halfway through. We're doing bigger pieces now. So we just finished 9. I'm going to switch to 10. So 10 is a white or a background, whatever fabric you've chosen for the light color. I'm going to grab one of these. Now these are much bigger than I need, so I think I should be safe. Not quite lined up, but I have more than I need. So I don't have to be as vigilant with the lining up and making sure I have enough on either side, because I have more than I need. So now we're going to just quickly do the next one. Yeah. There we go. That one's down. And now we need to go and do the one on the other side, which is number A11. And we're just going to see how easy this is? Very easy. So we're just going to take one of these, kind of eyeball, make sure that it looks like it's lined up. It is. Close enough. Like I said, these are way bigger than I need. And I'm just going to sit off here. All right. Like I said, I really like this method. All right, so now we are doing 12, which is this fabric right here. We're almost done. Almost done. There we go. I'm going to get all this off. Oops. There we go. And off it goes. And we're going to turn this around like this, and then we're going to eyeball. That looks good. And yeah, that's actually, I think I'm just going to, there we go. Much better. gonna sew a 1/4 inch. Like I said before, I keep repeating myself, but I do not sew in the paper. I sew beside the paper. I use a special guide foot that has a little guide on it to do that. And it's great. The guide is great. Most machines have the same foot or something that you can use in place of what I have, because each machine has their own little version. Okay, so that's done. So I think you can see the swirl happening from here to there. Look, it's backwards. All right, so we're gonna go and do this one over here, which is this fabric here. I'm gonna just pull it back, and there we go. That's pretty good. I'm gonna just grab one of these, and we are going to do a little bit of centering. I am eyeballing the center, but you can see on either side that there's, you know, so you can kind of gauge it a little bit. All right, so let's finish sewing this, and then we have 4 more pieces to put on, 2 backs and 2 colors, 2 backgrounds and 2 colors. Here we go. There we go. So I'm going to iron this. This is looking really, really fantastic. I'm really liking it. Here, this is what it looks like so far. So now we have these outer pieces to do. So the next one we're doing, I don't know which one, we did 15, so we're doing 16. So it's a background. 16 is a background. We're going to pull this back and cut a 1/4 inch with the add a 1/4 inch. It wasn't proper. It's a little off, but hey, as long as I have a seam allowance, I don't worry about I don't sweat the big things. Okay, so these are supposed to be, okay. Ooh, maybe I should have cut them even bigger. I think I will have, no, I don't have to. Just gonna make sure. Okay. Just got to make sure that I have enough on either side. All right. There we go. That's done. So let's move on to the iron this, and then we'll do the next one. Hopefully, just passed. I hope it's passed all the way. Ooh, it's tight. I should have cut those a little bit bigger. So when I do the next one, when I do another one, I'll be able to cut these pieces bigger for these outer edges. I just hope that the other ones, I'll manage to get them all on. So we're doing number 17. I just got to be a little bit careful of there we go. And I got to see what color. Oh, it's a background. Okay. And I'm just going to and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I did before. Hopefully that will be enough fabric on all four sides to... So I'm going to have to make a little note to myself to make it bigger than, substantially bigger. All right, let's see how I did. Just go, and I have two more to do. So this one is this one, so we're going to go ahead and do that one. And we're going to pull that back. We're going to cut that off, and we're going to do the same thing because I really think I need to line it up a little bit more accurate because, like I said, I did not cut as tight as I would, or big enough. I cut a little too tight, my pieces. All right, so let's see how that one did. Yep, that one did okay. And I have one more piece, and then I can square this up, and one more piece. There we go. And that's this one. I'm going to do the same thing again just to make sure I get this lined up properly. Alrighty. Yeah, that's good. This really looks like it's more than a 1/4 inch. I think this is more than a 1/4 inch. Yeah, it is. I need to make sure that it's only a 1/4 inch because that would have caused a problem. Good thing I saw that. Okay, so here we go. So I'm lining it up there. There, that's much better. That looks much better. There, that's the last one. Let me just iron and then trim up. So that's what it looks like so far. And now I'm just going to take this larger ruler and trim up the excess fabric, making sure that I cut on the dotted line. And this one. There we go. There we go. So now that's it all trimmed up. The paper's still on, and all you have to do is peel the paper off. The paper comes off in one piece, and you've got a beautiful block all ready for your quilt. And there you go. This is called Pig's Tail. It looks like a snail trail. It's a 6 by 6 inch finished block, And I used cotton beach from Tilda and some fabric that I dyed myself last summer. So I think it looks really nice. So we'll see you on the next Other Day, Another Share. Bye. Happy quilting.